Hello everyone. Once again, we are back with our second part of the strategy. Now, in our last previous class, we have done or completed the first part of the strategic management. Now we are moving towards the second part. The second part is the strategic management. Now let's see what strategic management have to tell us all about. So strategic management, it basically involves three different stages into strategic management. Number one is the strategic portion or the strategic positioning or strategic analysis. Now, in order to identify where the organization is basically going in the near future, you first need to know the current position of your organization as to where are you standing in terms of the financial viability and in terms of the economic and overall structure of the organization and economic environment. So how do we analyze the current positioning, or how do we analyze where we are standing with the organization perspective? Where are we standing currently? The first thing to do this is to get to know what external environment thinks about the organization. Now, by external environment, I mean the country. And by country, I mean one of those models that you must have gone through in your previous classes, that this pestle model will be used in analyzing the overall economic or the overall environment related to each and every stakeholders that the organization deals in or deals out on their daily basis. Second model that we can use is the industry model. Now, what do you mean by industry model? Industry model, we have Porter 5 forces, which is associated or totally filtered towards the result of customers, suppliers, competition, so on and so forth. So let's move towards the internal sources. Now that is the external resources. Now how do we analyze the overall external environment of an organization? May be done by two different models, as I have already told you, pestle model and Porter 5 forces. Now the internal sources or the internal resources which may be connected, which may be concerned with the help of analyzing, or that may help us in getting the desired result of how to analyze the organization current strategic positioning, is the human resource or expertise. What experts do we have? What are the specialists that are operating within an environment? What are the human resources that are operating within the current economic environment? Is the bestest possible thing, is the bestest possible asset that an organization can have, and will help an organization in order to flourish, in order to grow. Secondly, we have got the financial resources. Now, what are the financial resources? Obviously, what amount of liquid cash is available on daily basis? What is the amount of how much liquid asset are available for an organization, so that in the case of winding up or in the case of crisis, when the organization needs to pay an amount of money there on there and then basis, then the organization will do so in the quickest possible manner. Then we have got the IT related resources, that is information technology. Now, information technology cannot be done without the information system. So basically, when I talk about the IT related resources, I may be saying that IT or the information system and the technology related resources that an organization have, and if these organizations are having these resources in ample amount, or they are better than the other organization, so we can easily say that the organization is having a competitive edge in the industry in which it operates. Together with this, yes, brand image or the corporate image, each and every organization have some brand image. If it is an initial organization, their first or the foremost task of an organization would be to develop a brand image so that people can buy their products, and each and every person can filter the name of the organization, and that organization can flourish their result and get the best desired result out of it. Or any unique tangible resources. Now, what do you mean by unique tangible resources? For example, if I've got a machinery which is capable of producing 10,000 tons of steel, rather all the other, let's suppose, firms that are operating in our industry, they are able to produce only 7,000 tons of steel. This means that I am able to cater more demand, and I will get along the market in a better manner and a better positioning. So I will be able to put forward my let's suppose product into the environment in a fastest way possible as compared to the other persons. Then, so these are all the strength and weaknesses. So if we say that there are two different models of analyzing the overall economic environment of an organization in which it operates within an economic system, I can say the first thing is the pestle resources, that is the political, economical, social, technological and ecological resources, as well as the legal one. And the second thing is the SWOT analysis. Now in SWOT analysis, the two factors that are given at the start of the SWOT analysis, that is strength, weakness, opportunities and threats. Strength and weakness are all the internal factors and opportunities and threats are all the external factors. So let's move towards the mission. Expectation of the key stake. What is mission? What is a mission statement? Each and every organization, while starting their business, they normally develop a mission statement. Now what do you mean by mission statement? I basically mean to state that the mission statement is the expectation of the key stakeholders and the clarity of the mission or the future course of direction. Where do we see our organization in the near future? After 5 years, where will we be standing? What are the impact that an organization will be giving to the economic environment? What are the, let's suppose, environmental footprints that the organization will be giving to the upcoming or the forthcoming environment? Is the mission statement or the key expectation of each and every stakeholder. Now remember one thing in this particular area, we are talking about the stakeholders, not the shareholders. So this does not only mean the financial missions of the company, I mean to say the overall missions, the overall objective of the company. Now, how do we define the overall aim and objective, or how will we be making the strategy according to the current economic environment? Is by using the techniques which includes the Potter 5 force model, the pestle analysis, that is political, economical, social, technological, ecological and legal factors, SWOT analysis, that is strength, weakness, opportunities and threat, value chain analysis. We have got primary activities, we have got secondary activities that combine together and help us in getting the margin. I'll be getting into details of each and everything. Stakeholders mapping model, obviously we'll be identifying the Menlo's matrix model, which you guys must have studied in your FBT examination, and I will be going through in this paper as well. So let's move forward. What do you mean by strategic choices? Now there comes a question, so what is the basic meaning of strategic choices? Generate all possible options to reach mission. For example, if you guys are studying SBL through the recorded lectures of Mr. Sheikh Bilal Haq, there are many other possible options to reach to your desired outcome. Maybe there might be an option to go into the physical classes and then study over there with the teachers, with face-to-face interaction with the teacher, but there are other options. For example, you may go for the recorded lectures as we are doing in the current scenario and analyze the pros and cons of all options. For example, if I'm going for the physical classes, there might be different mindsets sitting in those classes. There may be new questions being asked in these classes, and I might get an edge by taking the physical classes. However, if I'm not comfortable in going to the physical classes, or if I have other commitments to do, let's suppose if I'm an office going student, if I'm not a full-time student, so what I can do is I can take the recorded lectures. And what are the pros and cons of taking the recorded lectures? That is, if I forget something in the near future, or let's suppose if I want to revise a core topic that I've completed in my previous classes, what I can do is I will be going back to those recordings and I may be in a position to recall all those concepts that the teacher have taught us in my classes. So these are the pros and cons of taking both the physical and the online classes. Now on the basis of these pros and cons, the ultimate aim or the ultimate mission of this entire study structure is to clear the SBL, that is Strategic Business Leadership examination. So you guys must have decided to take these classes from SBH with the recorded platform, and they might, now the other question that arises in our mind is this strategic choice the best for our mission? So the answer might be yes. If you are able to clear your examination, then this strategic choice is the bestest of them all. So let's move forward. Select the strategy that the best suits you. For example, see the strategic criteria. Now you will be selecting the strategy that is best suiting your inclination or your environment in which you are operating. Now moving forward, strategy into action. Once the strategy is being selected, now what you need to do is, now you need to decide how to put this strategy into action. How should I implement these strategies? Obviously there are many ways of implementing this strategy. The bigger economists or the economists around the world, they normally suggest that to break down each and every strategy into small attainable objectives in order to attain the bigger objective of the strategy. So monitor the result after every particular deadline or after every particular quarter. Try monitoring the result that you are achieving and aimed strategy if desired results are not being achieved. Now what you need to do is you need to amend these strategies. Now you need to amend, now you need to change if the desired result is not being achieved. For example, if you are not comfortable, if you have taken the demo lectures of the physical classes and you are not comfortable, or you feel that you will not be able to take the physical classes, so what you decided is that okay, my strategy of clearing the SBL examination was first to take physical classes, but due to time constraint or due to the fact that I am a, let's suppose I am a office going student, or I need to study from Mr. Sheikh Bilalak and I am outside Pakistan, so what I can do is I can take the recorded lectures. So what will be your strategy? First you decided to go to physical classes, now you have decided to amend your strategy and get along with the recorded lectures. So this is the way in which you implement a particular strategy. Now let's talk about the external environment. What do you mean by external environment? See, each and every business is operating around an external bubble of an environment. Now the external environment in which we operate is normally the economy, the laws, customers, competitors, and many other factors. So the type of external environment, generally there are two basic type of external environment that we will be discussing in our current lecture. The first one is the macro or the general level environment that pertains to the entire economic structure. For example, if I'm working in a steel industry, or if I'm working in a, let's suppose in a food manufacturing industry, so I will be looking whether my environment that in which I want to operate, let's suppose if I'm operating in UK environment, if I'm operating in USA environment, if I'm operating in Pakistani or Indian environment, I will be taking into account different types of factors. For example, the first factor that I'll be taking into account are the laws and regulation. Obviously, the customs of those areas, the custom of the country might be changed, might be different from that of our customs. And the third area would be the economy, the economy, the deflation rate, the inflation rate, the monetary values of the let's suppose currency in which I'm operating, and the type of customers, and how many competitors do we have. So the first thing that I will be looking is the general or the macro level economic environment, which is moreover concerned with the overall country's environment. Second part will be the immediate micro environment that pertains to the industry in which we operate. So the industry, for example, if I'm about to enter into the steel industry, I will be looking at the steel industry's overall environment. If I'm about to enter into the food industry, I'll be looking at the overall food industry that is operating in Pakistan. For example, I'll be going through the competitors like Unilever, I'll be going through competitors like Procter and Gamble, I'll be going through competitors like let's suppose Engro Foods, and many others who are operating in the environment. And I will be looking at what are the good things that they are doing right now and what are the bad or the cons that they are unable to achieve, and I'll try to make those areas more comfortable for my total firm or the industry. Now, let's move towards prediction. What do you mean by prediction? Obviously, when I enter into an environment, I normally predict what type of revenues or how much amount of revenues will I be able to generate in this environment. What is the total amount of revenues that I'll be able to generate? How will I be able to get the economies of scale? What should be the cost structure? Are we achieving cheaper labor or are we getting an expensive labor in the meanwhile? So prediction means as environment is uncertain, prediction is required to in order to plan ahead. I will make certain predictions. Okay, so in the near future, the economic environment of USA is flourishing and the product that I am selling, for example, if I am selling luxurious cars, I'll be seeing that if the buying power of the customers or the overall economic structure of the economy is flourishing, it's going on to an upward trend, I'll decide to produce more cars because people will be able to buy these cars. And that is the planning that I'll be doing ahead. The better the prediction, the more successful the strategy will be. Now, if my prediction are perfect, if my prediction are taking into account each and everything, each and every area that can basically affect my prediction, then I'll reach to a better prediction. And remember one thing, a better prediction will lead to the bestest possible result. Now, let's use the tools that might be used for the prediction purpose. The tools that are used for the prediction are forecasting. The first one is forecasting. Forecasting is based on the historic trend. For example, an average of the sales growth in the last 5 years. Now, I'm about to enter into Pakistani industry of producing cars, or I'm a car manufacturer and I've been producing, for example, Morris Garage, MG. They have been producing in other countries and now they have decided to enter into Pakistani environment. Now, if he is deciding to enter into Pakistani environment, what he will do is he will look into the sales trend of the car industries or the cars manufacturing areas, firms that are already operating in Pakistan. However, it is not necessary that the historic trend, but yes, in the recent pandemic situation or the COVID situation, the sales trend was not as good as it used to be in the last 5 years. So yes, prediction can fail as well. Now, scenario building. Scenario means what if scenario. And you must have studied this what if scenario in your previous studies, which is known as the expected values. There are drivers for change. Various scenarios are being prepared based on the assumption. That is the what if scenario. For example, if the US dollar rate tends to decline, will I be in a better position to earn profitability? Or I can even say, if the petrol prices are increasing, will I be getting more and more sales of automobile industry? If the economic growth trend is declining, will I be able to generate sales of something which is a luxury, which is considered to be a luxurious item? Customer demand. If more and more people are becoming health conscious, now they won't be driving cars, they'll be buying bicycles. So should I enter into the car industry or should I go for the bicycle industry? Obviously, these are all those areas, these are all those bases on the basis of which I'll be taking my decisions. And these key assumptions are known as the drivers for change. If I want to bring change in the economic environment, if I want to bring change in the economic industry, what I need to do is I need to build up scenarios. I need to build up certain assumptions. I need to build a what if scenario. What if the dollar rate increases? What if the current economy is going declining position? What if there is a pandemic situation like COVID and people are being, let's suppose they are being kept into their homes and they are being told not to drive and not to go out. So this means that no more cars will be sold in the recent trend. So I will be taking into account all these factors. Scenarios can be built at macro country level. Obviously, the scenario that I built right now was at the macro level, and these are known as the macro level scenario. As well as it may be built in the micro or industrial level scenarios and is known as the micro scenarios. Multiple scenarios are built in conditions of high uncertainties so that all possible outcomes are reviewed. Now, what you need to do is, if there are high uncertainties, for example, in time of war, in time of flood, in time of earthquake, in time of economic crisis, in time of, let's suppose, depletion of resources, in time of hyperinflation, you need to make different type of scenarios. What if scenario? What if there is huge amount of inflation taking place in our economy? What if the government is failing to get all the economic objective which they had, let's suppose, listed down in terms of the industry in which I'm about to enter? So I will be making all those what if scenarios. I will be considering all those what if scenarios. And if at the end of the day I find out a conclusion that yes, these what if scenarios are allowing me to enter into this market, then and only then I will be entering into the given market structure. Okay, so let's look at the environmental analysis that we need to get along with, or we need to decide before getting into a economic condition, or before starting or taking the decision of starting a business in an economic environment. Every business has to analyze its environment in order to prepare these strategies. As there are two different types of environment, both environment have to be analyzed. Following two models are used to analyze the environment. Number one model is the general environment, which is being analyzed with the help of PESTEL model. Now, PESTEL model means the political, economical, social, technological, ecological, and legal model, and the immediate environment. Now, what do you mean by immediate environment? We'll be looking into it in details by using the model of Potter 5 forces. Now, purpose of strategic analysis. Now, let's see the purpose of strategic analysis. Strategic analysis tries to find out answers to three key questions. Number one is, where is the business now? Where am I operating in terms of business right now? What is the market share that I'm getting right now? Am I being able to get the bestest possible market share, or am I getting the maximum possible market share in the current economic environment? How might the business be affected by what is happening or likely to happen? What is the basic areas that where we might be taking our 100 or giving our 110% and making it possible to get the business out of the market or to flourish our business, and how could the business respond to these likely changes? For example, in the current economic environment, yes, we have never ever thought of learning a certain subject, or let's suppose a professional qualification, with the help of our online classes, but due to this pandemic or COVID situation, we are in a greater position of learning or exploring or tapping in this industry of learning through the online studies. And yes, we have found these online classes to be effective as well. So let's see the pestle or the macro environment. As I have told you before as well, that this relate to the general environment. It is not industry specific. This is not industry specific. This is not specific to your firm. This is specific to the economy or the environment in which you are about to operate. So let's see. The first one is the pestle. P stands for the political, that is, you can see in this diagram, the government stability, the tax policies that are being operated in an economy. E stands for the economic growth. What is the economic trend right now? How much amount of inflation are we facing? S stands for the social, that is income distribution. What is the trend of income distribution? Let's suppose if an economy is charging more and more tax, this means that the economy is more concerned in providing, let's suppose, resources to the underprivileged areas or underprivileged people of the society. And if the economy is charging lesser amount of taxation, this means that the economy is moreover concerned in providing more resources to the overprivileged peoples of the society. T stands for the technological areas. Yes, international influence, tech transfer. Do we have PayPal? Are we technologically better than the other countries? Is the country in which I am about to operate willing to take globalization or multinational areas or of tapping in or business from the different economies? Are we able to get the business from different economy? Are we tech based economy? If yes, then yes, we can get bestest amount of possible result from the economic system. Then we have the environmental restrictions and climatic change. If the climate is changing, for example, yes, in the recent 10 years, we have seen different climatic changes in different part of the economies. We have seen more and more temperature rising in the overall economic environment. See, if the temperature is rising, this means that air conditioning industry might flourish more. For example, in Pakistan, the temperature is continuously rising. Even in April, May, the temperature goes up to 40-42 degrees Celsius, meaning that this is a very good market for the air conditioners. Similarly, legal, what are the laws that are operating? Are the laws lenient in the current scenario or in the current economic environment, or the laws are strict? For example, we can easily say that in Panama, the laws are comparatively lenient as compared to other countries, and normally all the ships around the world, around 60 to 70% ships around the world, are being registered in that country, because due to the fact that their laws are conveniently, they are, let's suppose, a bit lenient in this regard as compared to the laws of other economies. Moving further, let's talk about the political, economical, social, ecological, technological, and legal factors in detail. So political. Now, what we need to see, the first thing that we need to see before entering or tapping in into an economic environment, into a new economic environment, is the political stability of that economy. For example, if the government in which is operating in the economy, is it stable enough, or are after 5 years or after 10 years the laws of that economy are about to change, then this means that it will have an impact on our business as well. Law and order situation, is it a good country to live in? Do they have reasonable law and order situation over there? The laws and orders that are being made or documented, are they implemented as well or not? Then we have government policies, for example, liberal, investment friendly government. If we have an investment friendly government, this means that the economy or the government is in favor of making more and more industry, or bringing more and more industries into the economic environment in which we are operating. Let's suppose if I am about to enter into this industrial world, will I be in a situation sorry will I be in a situation to get the handsome amount of investment from the government perspective or not? And the political situation, is the political environment of the economy in which I am entering changing on a shorter term basis, or let's suppose they are changing after 5 to 10 years? This will also have a immense or a greater impact on the economic environment in which we are operating. So example, government is supporting professional education through industry through tax incentive. For example, government is saying that if you are about to teach your individuals, the employees or the human resources that you have, if you are about to educate them along with giving them the job opportunities, they will give you a tax incentive. This means that they want to create more and more job opportunities. This means that they encourage entrepreneurs. For example, the government have decided to give lesser or interest-free loans to those young entrepreneurs who want to start or establish their own business. And if this is the case, then in such an economic environment, generally new business develop. If the government is providing tax incentive of hiring, let's suppose if the government have made a tax laws, I'm just giving you an example. If the government has made a tax law of giving you 10% subsidies if you are hiring 500 employee within the firm in which you are about to operate, then this is also a political objective that the government is helping you to fulfill. Then we have economic objective. Now, what do you mean by economic objective? The first thing is disposable income. Now, if the government, if the economy is somewhat or someone in which the people are living above their standard life, this means that their standard of living is better than the other economic systems. Over there, in such an industry, majority of luxury goods manufacturers might operate in a better or well situation. Then we will also look at the economic growth or recession. Is the economy growing, or are we going through the recessionary phase? Inflation rate. Are we facing hyperinflation, or the inflation is just consistent at its level? For example, if I talk about Zimbabwe, I can say that they are facing a hyper level of inflation right now, and their biggest note is of their biggest note is of 9,000 million Zimbabwean dollars, and in that they are getting nothing but peanuts. So what are the tax implications? Is the government a bit reluctant about collection of tax, or the government is very strict in collecting tax? The government is inclined more towards collection of the sales tax, or the government is inclined more towards the collection of income tax. That will also relate to the similar scenario. Then the rate of returns. If I invest 1,000 rupees, what is the return that I'm getting, or what are the general returns that an economy is able to provide to the potential investors? Exchange rate, for example, if let's suppose if I'm getting 152 Pakistani rupees, if I'm getting for $1 for 152 Pakistani rupees, these are the exchange rates. So if the exchange rate is stable in an economy, if the exchange rate is stable in an economic system, I will be able to generate more and more amount of money, and I will also be able to attract more and more foreign customers. Then yes, we have got interest rates as well. Now, what do you mean by interest rate? By interest rate, I mean that let's suppose if I'm about to go for loan objective, if I need loan in an economy where I'm about to operate my business structure or my business system, I would want to have a loan at a lower interest rate, because that will be easy for me for payability area. So if the economy is providing me 10% interest rate as compared to another economic system where they are providing me loan at, let's suppose, 20% interest rate. So I will decide to enter into such an industry where the interest rate is comparatively lower. And what are the financing options? For example, we have got debt-based financing, we have got equity-based financing, we have got loan-based financing. Debt-based financing include debentures, loans, bonds, term certificate, demand drafts, so on and so forth. And equity-based financing means your personal investment or the investment that is being done by the shareholder within the economy. For example, the economy is going through recession. If the economy is going through the recessionary phase, let us talk about the different phases that an economy can go through, and let's see what are the phases that will help us in identifying we should open our business structure or not. I'm making a business cycle right now, or we can call it as a trade cycle as well. This is the trade cycle or the business cycle in which or I can call it as economic cycle as well. This area right now is the peak or boom, and this particular area is peak or boom, and this area where the economy reaches its maximum, I may call it as burst. After this area comes the recessionary phase. The lowest part is known as the trough, and again an incline will be regarded as the recovery phase of an economy. Now, I have made an economic cycle of an economy. Now, if the economy is going through its peak or they are on their maximum level, this means that the economy is generating job opportunities for their employees. Economy is generating good opportunities related to jobs, entrepreneurial related opportunities. These are the opportunities that will be generally provided on the peak or the boom level. However, in the burst level, I can say that the economy, although it is not humanly possible, but the economy has reached to its full employment. And you guys are clever enough to identify that if an economy reaches its full employment, this means that the buying power of the individual within an economy is increasing and thus leading to inflation rate to increase. Then we have got the recessionary phase. After every bust comes the recessionary phase. We will go for job losses and civil unrest. Then comes the lowest possible phase. If the recessionary phase is not being, let's suppose, identified on it, not being identified on an early basis, we might reach to the lowest possible area, that is the trough phase, in which we may go for hyper job losses and ultimately a great depression. Last but not the least is the recovery phase. Let's see about what the recovery phase has to tell us all about. Over here, the economy tried to stabilize. In this particular scenario, new job opportunities are created, buying power is increased, so on and so forth. So there are many other areas in which we will be tapping in, or we will try our economy to bring back from the phase in which they are currently operating. Similarly, I guess you must have copied this. Similarly, let's move towards the social or the demographic factors. Now the social factors is the study of population. Where is the most amount of people living in a particular economy? Let's suppose, are they living in the urban areas, or they are living in the rural areas? Are they living on the flatlands, or they are living in the mountainous areas? We will study about the population as well, because if they are living in the mountainous areas, we will be building cars which include heaters, and if they are living in the let's suppose hot or humid areas, we will be building up cars or manufacturing those cars that include air conditioners. Plus beliefs in a religious system. Are we about to operate, or are we about to tap in, or are we about to enter into an economic system whose major religious belief or whose major social belief is to live together or with a family life? Or do they believe on living independent or abandoned life after becoming 18, or let's suppose after becoming a child, after becoming a major person? So we will also be seeing into these areas, because if there is more over concern towards the family structure of living, we will be building up lesser number of homes and more number of, let's suppose, more number of cars and bikes. And if we move towards the individual living their independent life, we can enter into an industry of home manufacturing. Now, standard of living. For example, the standard of living of India and Pakistan as compared to the standard of living of UK, USA and other Western countries, it is bit different, because people in, let's suppose, in the underprivileged areas or people in the underdeveloped nation, they strive their level best to fulfill their necessities and then think about luxuries. However, in the Western areas, the people are fulfilling their necessity at ease, and they are also going for the luxurious consumptions of good. Then age and gender group. How many people in an economy are younger generation, because they would want to buy video games, because they would want to go for vocational trainings, because they would make a good labor force for an industry. However, if I am about to operate into an old age industry, into an old age maximum number of old age economy, then in that economy I will not be getting a better labor market there, and I will have to hire labor from some other country or city. Now, literacy level. Am I about to enter into an industry or an economy where the literacy level is very high, or am I about to enter into an industry or an economy where the literacy level is very low? Again, together with this, the unemployment level. If the unemployment level in the current economic system of an economy in which I am about to operate, it is very low, this means that I will not be getting a better bargaining power with the employment opportunities. However, if there are more number of people being unemployed in an economy, the industry will be in a better bargaining power, because for every single labor, there is another labor standing outside who is willing to work at a lower rate as well. So example, a lot of people who go for higher professional education are highly educated society. So if in my economy, majority of the people are going for highly educated scenarios, are going for highly educated society, or are going for professional education, I will be at ease of providing education, and I will be operating in an economy where majority of the people are highly educated in terms of professionalism. Now let's move towards the technological area. The availability of technology. Is the technology available on let's suppose a random basis, or the technology is available on general basis? For example, internet and online services. Are we working in an environment or an economy where connectivity or the internet availability? Because you guys must be very well aware, whoever is sitting in front of a computer system, you know it well, that if I'm about to teach you through the online structure, first and the foremost thing that you need is the internet, or the availability of internet and online structure. Then we have tech infrastructure in the economy. Yes, what is the tech infrastructure? Are we technically competent in terms of the tech based industry? Do we know how to operate these tech based let's suppose goods, or do we know how to use these gadgets? are the people whom we are about to go through with. Or for example, if I am about to launch a fully tech oriented car, for example, e-tron, proton, or whatever cars are being introduced by Tesla Motors, all these cars are tech oriented cars. And do we have those generation, do we have those people who are tech oriented people who love to go with these tech based gadgets? Similarly, obviously, this will also be influenced by the age structure in which the economy is operating right now. Or if we have people who are older age, or who do not know how to use, or they are uncivilized, or they are let's suppose educated, they do not know how to use these tech based gadget, they will not be in a position, or I will not be in a position to operate a good market in such an industry. Then we have availability or shortage of skilled labor. Do we have skilled labor available, readily available, or we will be getting these skilled labor from outside our country? This is also one of those examples that I need to identify before entering into any particular economy. Let's see an example. IT and communication infrastructures are available, hence or distance learning program can be offered through internet and website. Today's world, I am offering the or distance learning program. There might be students who must be seeing these videos from, let's suppose, from somewhere around in North America, from somewhere in UK, from somewhere in London, from somewhere in India, from somewhere in Pakistan, somewhere around this world. And this is all possible just because of e-learning, just because of distance learning. Then we have ecological factors as well. Let's look at the ecological factors. You guys must be very well aware that each and every particular industrial objective, decision or mission, it has somewhat impact on our economy. And the best or the biggest possible measure that an industry tries to take is to reduce. Obviously, they cannot totally eliminate the harmful impact that an economy or that an industry is producing for an environment. However, what they can do is they can just try to eliminate the harmfulness of the impact of their decisions taken on the basis of their general strategic objectives. Let's look at the ecological factors. Protection of earth and its environment. Are we able to protect our earth on a daily basis? Normally we talk about pollution, the global warming, ozone layer that is in front of the sun, harmful waste material. Normally we are polluting our environment, air pollution, noise pollution, water pollution, so on and so forth. Carbon footprints, you can go and see the seaside, it's all being contaminated by, let's suppose, by the waste material that we are disposing in these sea areas. The green products, normally we are moving towards green products. In my country, they have tried to eliminate the use of plastic shoppers, and they are moreover moving towards biodissolvable bags. They are moving towards green products. They are moving towards more healthier environment. Similarly, ecological factors are getting important, and more customers are becoming green conscious customers. Several green groups or pressure groups have been formed. For example, Green Cross, Greenpeace, Amnesty, Earth First, etc., etc., etc. There is a brand name Greeno, which provided juices in Pakistan. It is basically concerned in providing a healthier environment, not only for the consumers but also for the overall economic system. They have introduced biodissolvable straws. They have introduced biodissolvable containers that will be dissolved in water once they are thrown away in the, let's suppose, in the drain or the sea areas. Now, there is something new which has been introduced in the recent time, and that is known as the environmental audit. Now, in today's world, they are not just concerned about the financial audit. We do not only need the financial audit. Now, today's world is moreover towards the environmental audit as well. What are the negative footprints that we are being able to give to our environment, and how much contribution is our industry doing right now in order to reduce those negative footprints? So ecological issues, what are the ecological issues that are being covered in this chapter? The first one is the product. Your product should not harm the environment. It should be able to recycled. So we are now in a move of eliminating the plastic water bottles, and we want, let's suppose, glass bottles or dissolvable bottles. Manufacturing process, eco-friendly manufacturing process, you should not contaminate the environment, you should not include air pollution, so on and so forth. You should not throw these chemicals, these waste material, they should be properly disposed of. No noise pollution, no air pollution, no waste pollutions, no water pollution. But however, this is just a theoretical impact. We cannot say that we will be able to completely eliminate the pollution impact on our environment. Office and building, we need to develop the office and building that are environmentally friendly buildings. For example, solar powered building, energy preservation. Now we are moving towards solar panels, and we will be able to generate electricity with the help of these solar panels. So this is something which is helping our environment to get rid of these harmful impact of the pollution. Example, to reduce the use of paper in the educational institutes and move towards the paperless environment. And the paper is manufactured, because the paper is obviously manufactured with the help of cutting of trees. Now let's look at another factor, that is the legal factors. Now legal factors include company laws. What are the company laws that are operating in our economy? What are the environmental or labor laws? For example, do we have lenient or strict labor laws? What are the laws relating to child labor, data protection act, health and safety laws, environmental laws? Are we operating in an environment where environmental laws are quite strict and we will not be able to get more financial opportunities? However, there might be an economy where financial laws are not so strict, or they are lenient in the financial laws. We will be able to get more of financial environments, tax laws, competition and monopoly act, marketing and sales, so on and so forth. Student personal educational data should be held confidential, and they should not be disposed of, or they should not be let's suppose shown to other industries in order to get financial benefits. I guess let's keep our class till here today. Inshallah, from our next class we'll be moving forward. Till then, Allah Hafiz.